What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is a story where Issei was the dark dragon god and had a leveling system. What if things played a little differently? While on a date with the Fallen Angel Raynare, what if instead of thinking about Rias and her saving his life, which sort of bounds him to her, instead he thinks of something else. He thinks about the strength to survive and desires to survive, allowing him to unlock something truly magnificent and deadly. He unlocks the gaming system, and for the first time things will become better for the once perverted teenage. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now, let's get into part 1. The quote from Dan Kuroto. I'll clear this even if it means using continues. Issei was dead on the ground, with a light spear at his stomach as he coughed up blood. He touched his abdomen area as he looked at the blood in his hands. His attention soon turned to his attacker. She was an attractive young woman with violet eyes and a curvaceous, slender body. She had long, silky black hair that reached down to her hips and possessed 2 black feathered wings characteristic of her race. She was wearing a black, strap-like objects, resembling leather, around and under her breasts, a thong-like piece held around her hips by 3 thin straps, gloves that ran right up her arms with small lengths of chains hanging from them, shoulder guard-like objects on her shoulders with 3 large spikes sprouting from her right shoulder, and black thigh-high heeled boots. This was Raynare, Issei's date. She was a fallen angel disguised as a human. She then spoke with a mocking tone. I will cherish this band that you gave me. If you want to blame anyone, blame the biblical god. See ya, Issei-kun. Issei was helpless. This was not how he was supposed to die. He was expecting to at least have some fun with her in the date. Death was the last thing he was expecting. No, he was not expecting death at all. Raynare flew off using her 2 wings. Issei could only look helplessly as he muttered. Bread? That's my blood. I couldn't even have a chance to get a kiss or grope her breasts. Why is fate so cruel with me? Issei was starting to pass out due to the immense blood loss. The attack was swift and brutal, a well-catered assassination. No. Issei exclaimed, something suddenly surging in his body. He remembered his parents. What would they think of when he does end up dying? They would be devastated on his death. He couldn't die like this, he then spoke. I refuse to accept this to be my death. I won't die. I will not die, no matter what happens. All of a sudden, a blue energy surrounded Issei. As he looked in surprise, he then saw a blue screen in front of him. Welcome player. Warning. Player's health is in critical condition. Usually player has a choice, but in cases like this, the system will take command. Issei was surprised, wondering what happened and what was he seeing. He then spoke. Am I hallucinating? The system responded in kind. No, the player is not hallucinating, this is reality. Issei seemed to hum in agreement as soon another message showed up. Used. Instant revive. Instant revives remaining. 0. Issei's whole body was starting to heal on its own, curing the gaping wound his girlfriend left him. His whole body was healed as the blood on his shirt was long gone. Although the ones that stained his body was still present. That's amazing. Issei muttered to himself as he got up. The wound was completely gone. The system then responded by sending a message. Now then, we can begin. Does the user wish to stop time? Yes, no. Issei clicked on Y as time suddenly stopped in response. His screen again changed, showing the following. Running startup sequence. Loading stats. Done. Loading levels. Done. Loading skills. Done. Loading information about user. Done. For checking stats, player must state check stats. Self. Alright, check stats. Self. The system changes its screen, showing Issei's current stats as he looked at it and is annoyed by his titles. Name. Issei Haidu. Title. Leader of the perverted trio, enemy of all women, perverted beast. Level. 20. Experience points, EXPR. 102,000. Race. Human, unknown. Health points, HP. 4,000. Fatigue. 10. Strength, STR. 27. Vitality, VIT. 36. Agility, AGL. 40. Intelligence, INT. 65. Senses, SES. 30. Luck, LCK. 80. Potency, HOT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 40%. Mana status, full. Yen. 3,500. However, one title captured his interest as he wondered what this was. He needed to identify this one. He soon noticed tenacity and potency as he asked the system. What does tenacity and potency mean? The system changes its screen and responds. Potency refers to the ability of applying detrimental effects on your enemies. It is the probability of applying a negative status effect on an enemy. while tenacity is the resistance your body possesses to resist those negative effects. It is the polar opposite of potency, both are two sides of the same coin. As for negative effects, it is similar to something you play in an RPG game like Pokémon or Final Fantasy. The system believes the player has heard of those titles, right? Yes, I do. Issei responded as the system changed to normal as he asked his next question. System, can you tell me who that woman was? What is this sacred gear that she is talking about? And why did she kill me? The system did what was asked of it. First, the woman was Raynare, a fallen angel that fell from the sin of lust during the Great War. She was known for seducing and killing men for her own twisted and sick pleasure in order to appease her superiors. Secondly, you like a very few individuals possess what's called a sacred gear. These were tools that were designed by the biblical God to combat gods and other supernatural beings. Although there has only been one known case of a Longinus actually slaying a god, or one should say goddess. Longinus wielders have very low chance of beating a god. Almost less than 1%. Thirdly, Raynare had disguised herself as Yuma and her intention was to eliminate you, someone she believed was a threat. Apparently according to her, you have a sacred gear. I see. Issei spoke with sadness. If Raynare saw him as a threat, wouldn't it be better if she just killed him instead of toying with him and breaking his heart? She must have enjoyed playing with his feelings. Now thanks to her, he is going to have a lot of trust issues. However, soon anger started to boil in him. He wanted to make sure no one ever toyed with him ever again. Love, maybe that would be another time, but not today. So how do I get stronger? Issei asked his next question, to which the screen changed. There will be daily quests. But the player must show interests in performing these quests, or else there will be punishments that will harm the player. Does the player have the will to get stronger? Yes, I do. Issei spoke as the system accepted this answer, giving him a smiley face equals D, and the screen changed. Very well, let's work together to become stronger, player. Issei nodded as time resumed back to normal. He soon decided to head home, seeing that there was nothing that could happen. He had to get out of there before it is too late. Reaching home, he was greeted by his mother Mickey. She was described to be a woman in her late 30s, she wore her dark brown in a ponytail. She wore a white shirt and blue track pants. Welcome home, Issei. Issei looked at her and spoke. Hey mom. Issei's tone seemed devoid of any affection, which made his mother worried as she asked. Ice, is something wrong? Nothing, just a rough day, you needn't worry too much about me. Mickey could only watch Issei head upstairs as he entered into his room. Mickey knew about Issei's perversion and it was no secret amongst the entire school. Although she barely received any complaints from her. She worries that it would affect his future, but today, Issei seemed distressed, something her motherly instincts could sense. She went inside to prepare dinner, hoping that Issei would open up. In the meantime, Issei was in his room as he lied on the bed, he then spoke. I doubt you would believe me, mom. The system soon popped up in front of him and showed up. Tutorial quest. Heading to first dungeon, rank F. Defeat at least 10 monsters heading your way. 0-10 monsters. Rewards. 500, experience plus 250 yen. Failure. Death. Issei gulped at this quest as he spoke. Do I need to do this right now? Issei asked, to which the system responded. I today, player. Alright then, might as well do it now. But I think I should get a weapon for defending myself. The system responded in kind. That won't be necessary, monsters will be adjusted to your current strength level. So give it your best shot. May I know why I won't get a weapon? Like, is there not a way to buy one? Issei asked, to which the system responded. The shop is locked. The user must reach level 40 to start using the shop. A level cap, you have got to be kidding me. Issei spoke with annoyance as he wondered how would he get strong, but his question was answered by the system itself. Don't worry, that is why I am here. You can either grind to level up or you can pay some money to buy levels. The choice is yours. Note. Every 20 experience points equals 1 yen. Great, now we have fucking microtransactions. What's next, a paywall? Issei exclaimed with annoyance as the system retorted. If the player wants, the system can arrange something. Please don't. Issei spoke with a deadpan tone as a smiley face came on the system window equals D, which caused the brunette to sigh. He then got up and spoke. Fine then, take me there. The system responded in the screen. As you wish, player. We are being teleported in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Issei's whole body was glowing as he was surprised by this. Before he could speak, he was taken to a whole different location. He was surprised by how quick this happened. Scene change. Unknown location, 8 p.m. Issei was in a different world. It seemed to be a grassy plains with several trees and ground. He looked around and breathed the air. This place seems to be a good spot for a picnic sometime in the future. He started to walk around locating the 10 monsters that he would have to take down. As soon enough, there was rustling in the brush. This caught his attention. It was a small green slime. Stats check. Issei spoke as the system screen showed up and informed him. Name. Slime. Level. 5. Race. Slime. Health points, HP. 500 500s. Fatigue. 0. Strength, STR. 5. Vitality, VIT. 7. Agility, AGL. 8. Intelligence, INT. 0. Senses, SES. 6. Luck, LCK. 7. Potency, POT. 10%. Tenacity, 10. 20%. The slime leaped in for a tackle. Issei was afraid of getting hit since he was not familiar with combat at all. He put his hands in a defensive motion when the slime leaped towards him. But to his surprise it merely just tickled him. He opened his eyes and released his hands to see the slime helplessly tackling him. This is just. Issei punched the slime as it responded with a painful squeal. The slime exploded in response as Issei got some slime on his clothes. He grunted in frustration, knowing his mother is going to kill him. The system soon responded. Congratulations on your first monster kill, player. Slime kills, 1/10. Issei nodded as he looked to see several more green slimes, all of them charged at them with the intention of eliminating and consuming him. Issei sighed and punched every last slime with ease while trying his best to evade their attacks and abilities. He knew that the tutorial was the way of learning about more abilities to the system. They all squealed as they were killed instantly. Issei looked at his clothes, which were even more greener than before. He knew that he was going to get dirty until he found a way to clean himself. The system showed a screen to Issei. Slime kills, 10/10. Congratulations on your first quest completion. Tutorial quest complete. Heading to first dungeon, rank F. Defeat at least 10 monsters heading your way. 10/10 monsters. Rewards. 500 experience plus 250 yen. Due to tutorial quest completion, user will have his clothes cleaned and any wounds had healed up. Note. This is only a one-time offer. Issei nodded as he accepted the rewards, with soon a smiley face being shown in the screen equals D. The clothes in his body was cleaned as the system soon asks. Does user wish to stay in the tutorial area for grinding more experience? No, I don't think I will. Mom would kill me if I stay out for too long. In that case we will be teleporting. We are being teleported in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Issei's whole body glowed like last time as he was soon teleported back to his home. He sat down on the bed and spoke. That was really one hell of an experience. Issei spoke as the system screen showed up with a smiley face right in front of him equals D. Tomorrow, I believe the user has to go to school. Does player have any plans on dealing with the devils present? Devils? Issei asked, confused, to which the system responded. Yes, devils, player, and for now I am going to reveal who they are. There are 2 entire groups of devils present. First is Rias Gremory and her occult research club, and then is the entire student council of Kuo, led by Sona Citri, who is going by the alias of Sona Shitori. Issei was surprised by this information. It was no wonder they had such a following in Kuo. With Rias and Akeno, another member of Orc, and finally Sona Citri and Tsubaki Shinra, the president and vice president of the student council. You're right again, player. They are influential because of their looks, and with lookism present in your academy, it was no secret they climbed the ranks of popularity with ease. They are assigned to guard Kuo Academy from any supernatural threats. I am not sure why they didn't come and save you. But I am sure they have a very good reason for it. Well, let's hope. Issei muttered to himself, there is no denying that they are beautiful. But what happened with Raynare? He must know if they are beautiful on the inside as well or just the outside. Anyways, I should probably go down. My mother would want me to finish my food. Issei spoke to himself as he got up and headed downstairs, where he decided to have his dinner with his parents. Seeing him better than before, Miki was relieved that there was nothing wrong with her son. They both had their dinner since Issei's father had to work overtime. Scene change. Issei was again in his room as the system showed up with a screen. Optional quest. Don't peep on any woman for the next 3 days. This quest is to improve your reputation, 03 days. Rewards. 3000 experience plus 2500 yen plus new attack plus new title. Failure. No change in reputation, it will only worsen. Issei looked at the quest and was conflicted. It is going to take some time for him to not peep, since it was basically his habit at this point. But he knew that something has got to change if it means to not get manipulated ever again. He knew that Raynare used her looks to charm and deceive him, but he was not going to let that happen again. The system then showed another screen. Do you accept this quest, player? Yes, no. Issei thought for a moment before responding. Yes. The system soon showed a smiley face in response. It then showed a screen. All the best, player. Issei nodded as he went off to sleep. He knew that tomorrow will be another day for him. He wondered what tomorrow has in store for him. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei playing Mario Madness. The next day. Guo Academy entrance, 7:30 p.m. Issei looked at the academy as he entered inside. He looked at the students minding their own businesses. Some were talking about him, but he didn't care. He soon looked towards the classes and his friends. Motohama and Mitsuda. Mitsuda was described to be a shaved hair man wearing Kuo Academy uniform, which comprised of an unbuttoned blazer and the usual clothing, while Motohama was described to be a brown-haired man with upper neck-length hair and glasses. He wore the same clothing as Mitsuda did. Hey guys, do you remember about the girlfriend I introduced you to? Motohama and Mitsuda looked at Issei and started laughing like a madman. Haha, holy shit Issei, that's the nice joke. Motohama laughed in response as Issei was even more surprised. They should remember about her at least. Mitsuda then added. Really Issei? You really believe that you of all people have a girlfriend? No offense. We are the perverted trio, none of us will ever get a girlfriend. Issei was dazed, he was expecting them to remember Raynare Raynare. But here, they don't even know her. Does the name Yuma ring summer any bells? Issei asked, to which Mitsuda spoke. No, we don't. We should be heading for classes. Motohama then responded. Yep, nothing we remember on about her. Motohama and Mitsuda left for the class, leaving Issei confused as he wondered on why they don't remember Yuma. Soon the system had spoken the message. It is obvious that the fallen angel used her magic to erase her identity from everyone that saw her, and this includes your mobile device as well. They are capable of doing this, player. Issei nodded, remembering that there was no contact details of her and messages of his ex-girlfriend. He walked ahead and entered in his class. The teacher kept teaching, as Issei seemed barely interested in his own world. Once the class was over, someone came inside. The person was described to be a short blonde-haired man with blue eyes. He wears the Kuo Academy boys' school uniform, which consists of a black blazer with white accents over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. This was none other than Yudo Kiba. No sooner did he came the girls started screaming and squealing in joy, like as if some pop celebrity has come to their class like the K-pop stars or Justin Bieber. Ha! Look, it's the prince of Kuo Academy. One of the girls exclaimed in happiness. He looks so pretty. One more girl exclaimed, as another added up. I think I may come by just seeing him. Another exclaimed, which was fortunately downed by the cheers. Issei could only groan in response, as he spoke to himself with a mocking tone. Oh my god, it's Prince Golden Nuts. Shut up. Issei ends with a dismissive tone, as Yudo walked to him and spoke. Ah Issei. Issei turned to him and spoke. What do you want? I am on an errand from Rias Gremory to bring you to the club room. Issei was surprised by this, as some of the girls spoke. Is Kiba cakes with that smelly pervert? One of the girls spoke as the another girl spoke. No Kiba-kun, stay away from him, you will get the smelliness from him. Issei was used to the insults. He didn't like it, but there was little he could do, since the girls were in majority and they hated him for very good reasons. The system screen soon popped up revealing another quest. Quest. Remove Kiba from the classroom. Either go with him to meet the other devils or drive him away, it's your choice. Rewards. 750 experience plus 300 yen plus new skill. Failure. The girls will keep insulting the player and annoying you. Issei took a deep breath and knew what he had to do. He decided in response. Tell Rias Gremory this, I am not interested in coming to her club now. I have some errands to do, and I might come in the break time if possible. Issei spoke directly to Kiba in response, who seemed to be surprised by this. He knew that he couldn't enter empty-handed. But Haidu, Rias wants you to come, and Issei cuts him off and speaks with politeness. I am afraid not. Look, the teacher we have next is a strict one who doesn't tolerate tardiness. And I think you should also leave, unless you want to get punished. Kiba looked at Issei for a moment and narrowed his gaze as he speaks. Very well, if you say so. I will take my leave. But please try to make it today if you can. Issei nodded, with Kiba leaving the class. The girls were about to curse Issei in annoyance, but the teacher that was strict showed up and asked the students to settle down. The girls grumbled while the boys started to have slight respect for Issei. However, Issei wondered on how no one saw the quest screen in front of him. This was answered by the system itself when the quest complete screen showed up. Quest complete. Remove Kiba from the classroom. Either go with him to meet the other devils or drive him away, it's your choice. Rewards. 750 experience plus 300 yen plus new skill. For your question player, only you can see me and those you allow and consider to see this. You can remove the person at will, player. Issei nodded as he checked his new skill, who responded. New skill gained. Fire spin. The ability allows user to generate a fiery vortex on the target enemy, trapping them for a few seconds. This attack deals special damage to the target enemy for that short period of time. Fire vortex. Enemy takes special damage for a short duration upon skill activation. Issei smiled, wondering if he can use that skill sometime in the future. But for now, he needed to focus on his class. After a torturous 1 hour, he knew it was break time. He was then greeted by his two friends, who spoke. Yo. Issei, how about we peep on the kendo girls? Issei looked at Motohama, who spoke. Many looked at the three with a look of disgust, as Issei responded. Nah, I will pass. Issei responded with a neutral tone, as an uproar happened in the class, as the girls and boys shouted in response. What? Issei sighed in response, as the boys spoke in response with Mitsuda starting. Issei, what do you mean by pass? Issei responded to Mitsuda. One, you would leave me to get beaten up by the kendo girls, so I am not going to be your scapegoat, and second, I have found a better hobby. Issei spoke as he got up with his bag to head to the canteen. Many were just agape by what they were seeing. Mitsuda and Motohama were agape by this as Motohama spoke. Mitsuda. Mitsuda looked at Motohama and spoke. Yeah. Please tell me this is a bad dream. Mitsuda shook his head and spoke. I doubt it is. Mitsuda pulled his cheek as he exclaimed. Ouch. Yep, definitely a nightmare. Everyone else also knew that this was not a dream at this point. They watched Issei leave the room. Issei was outside, as the system soon appeared to congratulate the player. Good job for not giving in to your carnal desires, player. The hell does that mean? Issei spoke with annoyance, as the system only gave a smiley face, which made Issei even more annoyed. He soon sighed in response and spoke. Well, I should be heading to finish this off, then I will probably take some rest. I really need to get some sleep. Issei spoke with him, stretching his hands in response. The system soon gave another message. Are you sure you don't want to go to the occult research club? Nah, I don't think I will. Besides, I did say I will try. Yesterday was quite the eventful day, and I think I am going to need some more rest. Issei spoke with a dismissive tone. He may have to deal with future enemies that are going to become more and more common if he doesn't grind or buy experience to increase his levels. Issei was lying in the infirmary. He knew that things will only get iffy from here on out since the system came into his life. He looked at the bed ready to get up. He had slept for a few hours, missing several of the classes, but Issei needed some time to rest. Welp, I just hope that the teachers won't have any problems with this. Issei spoke as he was ready to get up and leave. When a system notification came in his screen. Quest. Survive the encounter with the goddess. Rewards. 1000 experience plus 500 yen plus reputation with the goddess plus. Failure. Potential death. Issei wondered who this goddess was. He then asked. What is this reputation? Issei asked, to which the screen showed a locked screen and responded. Relationship status are locked until player reaches 25. But I can inform you that reputation is a feature. It allows you to make better relationships with others. The more reputation you have, the better relationship you have, and vice versa. Issei nodded. He was bummed by how many things were progression lock based. Such that he needed to reach a certain level in order to access this. First shop being locked till he reaches level 40, and now relationship status behind level 25. He cursed himself for being so low leveled. Although, it was not far behind. He can only hope that he quickly moves to the next level. His thoughts were snapped when someone came inside his room. Issei looked at her with surprise at the person that came inside. She was a stunningly beautiful woman with sexy hip length, black hair that has bangs hanging on the right side with two ahogs, green eyes, a mole under her left eye, red round glasses, one earring on her left ear, and a voluptuous figure. Her outfit consists of a green knitted turtleneck, a tight black miniskirt, along with her cross-garter motif stockings, and her signature white lab coat. This was Chisato Hasegawa, the current school nurse of Kuo Academy. Issei looked at her with a slight red tint. She was one of the most sought-after women in all of Kuo Academy and well-liked amongst many students, especially the males of the academy. I hope you are willing to talk, Haidu. The woman spoke with a smile. Issei could only nod. It was not her beauty that attracted many. It was the kindness and compassion she showed, despite having a calm and almost cold tone. Yes. Issei spoke, as the system warned him. Player, she is the goddess that the quest is on about. Issei was stunned at this, as he muttered to himself without letting her hear him. Stats check. Name. Chisato Hasegawa, real name. Afuria. Title. Nurse of Kuo Academy, Goddess. Level. 40, real level. Race. Goddess, power sealed. Health points, HP. 4000 4000s. Fatigue. 0. Strength, STR. 78. Vitality, VIT. 69. Agility, AGL. 67. Intelligence, INT. 90. Senses, SES. 80. Luck, LCK. 70. Potency, POT. 50%. Tenacity, 10. 50%. Mana status. Full. Issei gulped at this, the stats named. Terrified him to no bounds. Just what was this woman capable of, and she has been here for his entire time when he was in Kuo, and never did he expect she was a goddess. Goddess? Issei muttered to himself, which caused Chisato flinch momentarily. She then shook her head, hoping that Issei didn't realize on who she really is. She then spoke. What are you on about? Sorry Hasegawa-sensei, it slipped out like that. Chisato shook her head and spoke. It's fine, Haidu. Anyways, how are you doing? I am fine. I got some good sleep. Did the teachers have any problems with me being here? Chisato sat beside him and shook her head as she spoke. None, many didn't even bother asking for you. I see. Issei spoke as he lied down back on the bed, he then spoke. So why are you here then? Issei asked, to which Chisato spoke. I wanted to ask, you have not been peeking, rejecting those two boys in Peking. Something is off with you. Would you tell me? Nothing of that sort. And I think I should get going. Issei spoke as he got up, but Chisato, who knew something was off with Issei, responded, stopping him in his steps. Wait. Chisato called out to him as Issei turned around and asked. Yes, sensei. You are hiding something from me, aren't you? Issei flinched upon this, he highly doubted she would believe him. He then spoke. Heh, I doubt you would believe me, sensei. And besides, I think I am getting late for class. Issei spoke with a dismissive yet polite tone, as Chisato could only watch in sadness. She was surprised by the tone Issei had spoken to her in, never doing so before. She wanted to say that she believes him, but she knew Issei is not going to listen, at least not now. Issei. Chisato saw a woman that walked next to Issei. She wondered if this woman was the cause of his current state. She needed to know more, but only when Issei is comfortable with disclosing to her. Scene change. Issei was looking outside, he seemed still saddened by the manner he spoke to her. She was one of the few that didn't treat him with contempt despite his perverted nature, and even treated his wounds when he was beaten up by the kendo club. She was one of the few that Issei was open with as well. But he highly doubted she would believe his story, even if she was a goddess aware of the supernatural world. Quest complete. Survive the encounter with the goddess. Rewards. 1000 experience plus 500 yen plus reputation with the goddess plus. Failure. Potential death. Level up. Congratulations on your first level up, player. Issei was surprised, he was quite dismissive and kind of cold to her. How did he get the quest completion, let alone level up? That was answered by the system. The player managed to survive the encounter without getting vaporized. Additionally, the player didn't harm or attack the goddess. Furthermore, the goddess seems to be worried for the well-being of the player. She is concerned for the player. Issei was surprised, even the system seems to state that she cares for him. However, there was something plaguing his heart. The damage she had done was not physical, but physiological and emotional as well. He shook his head and spoke. I should get going to class. Issei headed to the class, as he knew that he would have a lot to make up for in the form of assignments. But he knew that he would be able to do so. Plus, there wouldn't be much assignments to begin with. He soon caught up with Mitsuda and Motohama, who seemed to be injured. He sighed in relief knowing he made the right choice of going to rest rather than peeking. The school was also going to end and he was going to return home. After a tenacious 1 hour, he managed to finish with his lectures. He took a deep breath knowing it was over. Another day went quite well for him. Once the lecture was done, the screen suddenly popped up in front of him. Quest progress. 1/3 days. Issei's face grew into a small smile upon witnessing this. He was happy that one of his quests is successfully going on. He then spoke. Stats check. Name. Issei Haidu. Title. Leader of the perverted trio, enemy of all women, perverted beast. Level. 21. Experience points, EXPR. 352,100s. Race. Human. Health points, HP. 40 50 40 50. Fatigue. 30. Strength, STR. 30. Vitality, VIT. 39. Agility, AGL. 43. Intelligence, INT. 67. Senses, SES. 32. Luck, LCK. 85. Potency, POT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 40%. Mana status. Full. Yen. 4550. His smile grew wider as he wondered what is going to be in store for him. He probably would want to do some more grinding once he heads to a dungeon. His now current goal was to get stronger than before. However, his thoughts were snapped when someone called out to him. Haidu. Issei turned his gaze to see a pink-haired girl calling out to him. She had a headband on her head. She wore traditional female Kuo Academy uniform. This was Yui Kadis, one of the 2 members of the Kendo Club. The girl next to him was Kaori Murayama. She had brown hair tied in 2 ponytails. She also wore the same clothing as Kaori, except there were shoulder drapes on her dress skirt. Is something the matter? Issei asked with politeness, as the girl known as Yui asked. You didn't peep, why? Are we not good enough for you now? Issei shook his head and spoke. Not really, just didn't feel like it, to be honest. Issei walked up and started to leave, and he responded. Maybe try covering that hole next time near the backside of the building, that is where those 2 peep on you girls. The girls were stunned by this, just what happened to Issei. He never acted like this, and he even told them about the hole that was present. Kaori then spoke. Is it just me or Haidu is changed? Like completely. Kaori spoke as Yui shook her head and spoke. Maybe he is like that today, tomorrow would be different, he will be the same pervert he is known to be. Yui spoke in assurance, as Kaori could only seemingly nod. She wondered what caused Issei to change so drastically. He refused to peek, and he often remained in a gloomy mood, something he was not known for. Issei was now outside the class, as someone was looking at him from down. This was Rias Gremory. She is a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous body, white skin, blue eyes. She has long beautiful crimson hair that reaches down to her thighs with a single hair strand sticking out from the top. She was wearing Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, which consists of a white long-sleeved button-down shirt with a black ribbon on her shirt collar, worn under a black shoulder cape and a matching button-down corset, a magenta skirt with white accents, and brown dress shoes over white crew-length socks. She looked at Issei, relieved that he was alive. She knew that the fallen angels were present in Kuo, but saw that the fallen angel present was only asking the boy out for a date. She knew they made a move, but was hoping this was not true, as she did not want to rush in against them and have a clash, which would potentially restart the Great War. Additionally, she wanted to speak to Issei about Raynare, but he didn't seem to come, and the strict teacher also prevented him from coming. She decided that maybe she can have a conversation tomorrow, but for now she decided to let him live in peace. I am glad that nothing went wrong. Rias muttered to herself, relieved that some of her worries were now answered and put to rest. However, a part of her was nagging that there is more to what had happened yesterday. Since more and more fallen angels had been detected in her territory, she will investigate this before she takes the decision. She was afraid of risking starting the Great War. I just hope that nothing goes wrong from now on. Rias spoke a little bit too seriously. She soon headed back inside. She goes inside. She was happy that Issei seemed alright, despite his sudden change in attitude. Little does she know, she is far from right on what really happened to Issei and is greatly unaware of the truth. Scene change. Issei was heading home. He didn't accept his friend Mitsuda's request of watching a DVD, but he just didn't feel like it. He was no longer in a mood for watching all those stuff. Suddenly the world changed around him. The sky turned purple as a quest soon showed up on the screen. Emergency quest. Defeat the fallen angel that is coming to attack you. Rewards. 2500 experience plus 3000 yen plus new skill. Failure. A painful death. Issei gulped in fear, turning around to see his attacker. He was a man seemingly in his 30s with short black hair and dark blue eyes. His attire consisted of a pale gray trench coat over a white dress shirt with a matching ascot, black pants and shoes, a pair of black gloves, and a black fedora. He had 2 black wings that he released showing who he really is. Raynare didn't do her job of eliminating you. It is up to me to do it. The fallen angel started by throwing 2 spears which Issei leaped to avoid the attack, a few feet away. He was surprised by this, as he turned to his opponent. You seem strong, for a mere human. Issei grunted in anger, his tone reminded him of how Raynare killed him. He was starting to dislike these fallen angels, and on how arrogant they are. Stats check. Issei mutters to himself, as he saw Donaseek stats, and was surprised by how close their levels are. Name. Donaseek. Title. Fallen Angel, Pedophile. Level. 25. Race. Fallen Angel. Health points, HP. 2500. Fatigue. 0. Strength, STR. 43 plus 5. Vitality, VIT. 53 plus 5. Agility, AGL. 56 plus 5. Intelligence, INT. 50 plus 5. Senses, SES. 46 plus 5. Luck, LCK. 60 plus 5. Potency, HOT. 40%. Tenacity, 10. 35%. Mana status, full. Issei couldn't help but snicker at the title, which annoyed Donasik. He responded by preparing another light spear as he shouted in anger. You will regret laughing at me, human. Issei dodged the light spear, surprised by how agile he had become. He questioned the system on what is happening, as the system responded. The system augmented the player's body. The player's abilities are directly reflected in their current body state, strength and other stats displayed in the screen. Use it to your advantage, all the best player. Issei nodded, as he had to defeat his enemy in order for him to survive. He needs to do it for both his mother and father. He was ready to combat for his survival. As for Donasik, he was getting angry. He kept throwing light spears. The latter was narrowly evading the attacks, causing his hands and legs to get grazed, even including his cheek. However, his luck soon ran out when zoom. Stab. Jaya. Issei coughed up blood and groaned in pain. After failing multiple times, Donasik finally managed to land a hit aimed at Issei's abdomen. The spear piercing his stomach and going all the way back, barely missing his spine. I have you now. Donasik was about to end the job by going for the head. He was cocky, thinking that he had won the battle. The system then responded, seeing his state. Shout fire spin, that is the only way to beat him. Issei nodded as he quickly shouted. Fire spin. The fiery vortex surrounded him, stopping him dead in his tracks. Donasik asked with a tone of surprise. What is this? He looked at Issei, who was doing this, deciding to not play around with his prey. He prepared to finish his prey, but it was too late. The vortex started to get stronger, which started to burn through his clothing and body. Issei could see Donasik struggling to fly off, but the flames were making it harder. Seeing this opportunity, he removed the spear from his abdomen, which caused blood to spurt out from his stomach. The pain was immense and the blood loss was very high. However, he couldn't give up. If he was going to go down, he is going to take the fallen angel with him. Using all his strength, he prepared throwing the same spear he was stabbed with. He then spoke. I won't fall to you, bastard. Issei threw the spear with all his strength. The spear went flying towards Donasik, who could barely dodge, and soon. Stab. Donasik was stabbed right in the head, piercing through his skull and brain, as he muttered. Impossible. Issei also looked in horror. He didn't expect the spear to go for the head. He then spoke with horror. I didn't mean to. Issei knew he had to defeat his enemy. Killing monsters was different, but killing a fallen angel that had close resemblance to humans was something he didn't seem mentally ready for it yet. The fallen angel exploded into a flurry of feathers, followed by being burned alive by fire spin, which only left ash behind. The quest screen soon showed up. Rewards have been delayed due to the injury the player has received. Head to the local hospital or use any healing magic or items left. Issei asked in response. Are there any healing items I have? None, I am sorry, player. Issei coughed up blood as he was struggling to even walk at this point. He was starting to lose his vision. And he was on the verge of passing out. Meanwhile, Chisato was walking back home getting groceries for herself. She wondered on what she will make today. When someone came out from the nearby park. Chisato was surprised by this, as she recognized a boy. She then spoke with surprise. Issei. Her gaze soon turned to his wound, which made the nurse of Kuo worried. It was too big. Issei then spoke. Help. Issei saw his teacher, but his vision was blurry. He couldn't even stand due to the immense blood loss. He was able to see Chisato rushing towards him with worry and fear. She kept calling out his name. Issei. Issei. He was on the ground, passed out due to immense blood loss and the gaping wound in his stomach. His last moments were him seeing his teacher, who was worried sick for his state. Scene change. Unknown location, 9:30 p.m. Issei woke up with a jolt as he gasped with terror. He remembered what had happened to him when he was attacked by Donasik. He saw that he had no blazer or shirt, but had his pants. He held his head in pain. What the hell was that? The system had informed him. The goddess used her magic to save the player's life. You were in critical health and would have died had it not been for her interfering and saving your life. I see. Issei was grateful to Chisato for saving his life. He wanted to thank her before he left from this place, plus he knew that he had to tell her on how he got the gaping wound, else she would be even more worried and concerned for him. Anyways, here is the quest rewards. Emergency quest. Defeat the fallen angel that is coming to attack you. Rewards. 2500 experience plus 3000 yen plus new skill. Level up. New skill gained. Shock wave. This ability allows user to generate a small electrical wave towards the enemy. This deals special damage to the target enemy with a 50% of inflicting paralysis on an enemy. Paralysis. The target is unable to use attacks that deal physical damage nor move freely for a short amount of time. They can still use special damaging attacks and move some parts of their body, however. Issei accepted all of this since he barely has any skills. He then spoke. I accept this, it would be nice to have a paralysis skill slowing down their movements. The system responded with a smiley face and showed a new message. You should rest in your sensei's house. She was worried sick for you and was desperately trying to heal you. The system suggested as Issei spoke. I doubt I should impose on her, plus my parents are worried for me and I don't want to cause them more worries. However, before the system could respond, Chisato came inside with a bowl of soup. She seemed to be having a look of relief when Issei was alright. She then spoke. How is your wound? Better, I don't feel any pain like I did before. Did you have something to do with this? Issei asked Chisato, to which she sat beside him on his bed and spoke. Isn't it obvious? I had to give you some amount of painkillers to dull the pain. Chisato seemingly lied to him, but Issei knew this was a lie. She used magic to heal him up. Issei wasn't sure whether he can inform her if she was a goddess, since he did not know how she would react to this. She may kill him since he knows about her. Seeing his solemn look, Chisato kept her hand on Issei, causing him to flinch. He moved his head away, which made her worried. She knew Issei normally wouldn't mind this, but now, she could sense that something was really wrong with Issei. I see. Thank you, Hasegawa-sensei. Issei spoke with a low tone, as Chisato cracked a small smile as she spoke. I brought you some soup. Hasegawa-sensei, why? You shouldn't have. Chisato shook her head and spoke. No, it's alright, I want to talk, please tell me, what are you hiding from me? Issei didn't respond, turned his gaze away and remained silent, as Chisato spoke with even more concern. Issei, what happened? You have never kept secrets from me, Issei, please. I am not your enemy. Issei knew she was right. He revealed secrets to her that he wouldn't even tell his own parents about, since he was not sure on how his parents are going to take it. Chisato didn't mind, she liked listening to him, she was almost like someone that cared for him a lot. He looked at her and spoke. Would you even believe me? I mean, I have seen things you wouldn't believe, and if I tell that, no man or woman would believe me. Chisato looked at Issei, she had an idea on what Issei had seen. She knew Issei had a supernatural encounter and knew that Issei must have had a run-in with either the devils or the recently appearance of fallen angels. She had to find a way to convince Issei to speak about his troubles. Issei, if you don't tell me, how can I help? I can sense your troubled state, your declining of peeping, your sudden sleep of hours and finally your dismissal tone. Chisato pointed out the change, as Issei apologized in response. I am sorry, I didn't mean to speak in that manner. Chisato shook her head and responded. No, it's alright. That wasn't the point I am trying to make. Issei, I am concerned for your well-being, I know you from the back of my hand, and I know something is bothering you, please let me help you. Issei looked at her, he wondered if she was deceiving him like Raynare did him. Chisato could sense Issei's mood, knowing something horrific has happened to Issei to the point of him having trust issues. She was able to deduce the following. 1. His first encounter with the supernatural was someone that had betrayed or deceived him in such a heinous manner that Issei was having major trust issues. 2. She had a feeling that this was in line with the recent appearances of fallen angels that have been plaguing the town. She knew that the devils here either aren't doing their jobs well or are afraid of triggering the Great War by harming or killing these fallen angels. I have an idea on what must have happened. If you are not comfortable, then I am not going to pressurize you. But if you are willing to open up, you can do so. I will help you. Now have some soup, it's good for you. Chisato spoke up as she fed some soup, which Issei had, albeit a bit embarrassed, given that he was being fed like a baby. How is it? Chisato asked, to which Issei responded. It's good, I can't believe it was this good, and it is not too hot either, just warm. That's good to hear. Chisato responded with a more happier tone, as Issei asked. What about? You needn't worry about your mother and father. I have informed them that you are studying mathematics, so you needn't worry about it. Chisato cuts him off as Issei was surprised, as he asked. You know maths? Chisato only responded with a neutral tone. How was I supposed to tell your parents? I couldn't just reveal the gaping wound in your stomach, right? Issei turned away even more embarrassed as Chisato shook her head and fed him more soup. This went on for a while till the soup got over. She then spoke when she saw the empty bowl. Ara, should I get some more? Issei shook his head and spoke. After a while, plus I should get going. As much as I wouldn't mind. Your clothes are being washed, and you can't just show your wounds to your parents. They will get more worried and suspicious. Issei looked at her and reluctantly nodded. Since Chisato made sense of what she was saying. She then asked. But Issei, who was it that attacked you? Like, was it a burglar or some thug that you got involved with? Issei flinched again as he looked at her as Chisato continued. Issei, I want you to be comfortable with me. I am not someone that wishes any harm on my own students. If this is a case like this, then police getting involved would be the best solution. It is for your own safety. Issei took a deep breath. She was showing that she can be trusted. Unlike Raynare, Issei knew Chisato longer than what he knew that Fallen Angel to be. He knew her for at least a year and did reveal some secrets to her that otherwise he would not speak of. Not exactly. The person that came to kill me was someone wearing a fedora and a trench coat. He threw what seemed to be a light spear aimed at my chest. Chisato narrowed her gaze upon hearing this. She understood that the attacker was a fallen angel, since angels wouldn't be threading around devil territory due to them having their own territory in the European countries, just like devils rarely roaming around Europe. Issei couldn't sense it, but Chisato was livid that a fallen angel had the guts to attack Issei, someone she cared for. I see. Chisato noted as she asked. Any distinct features, and what did you do after that? There were 2 black wings that had sprouted from his back. I don't know, but he seemed to want me dead, and in response Issei trailed off, remembering he had ended up killing Donosik in self-defense. Sure, he claimed that he would have to grind to get stronger against his enemies, but his mental state that wasn't prepared for it. He started to shake in terror on what he had done. He had killed someone, and nothing is going to be the same after that. Issei, tell me, what did you do? Chisato asked, worried, as she could sense Issei being completely fearful. She was worried for his well-being and mental state only getting worse at this point, and she had to do something. Issei, please. Tell me what you did. I cannot help you if you keep things from me. Chisato spoke with a gentler tone as he spoke. I killed him. Chisato became wide-eyed. She knew Issei wouldn't kill someone. As a goddess, she has better judgment of people than most humans, and she knows Issei doesn't kill, even when he has the strength to do so. I didn't mean to, but I killed him with his own spear. I didn't want to. I didn't mean to kill him. Issei spoke with tears coming out from his eyes. Chisato realized what must have happened. During the fight, Issei would have been in a situation where the only way out was to wound or damage him to the point he would be unable to continue. However, he was not expecting the wound to have been lethal to the point of killing his enemy. She embraced him, assuring the panicked boy that he was not wrong in doing this. He defended himself, and if he were to ever stay in the supernatural world, he needed to defend himself. Even if he would have to start killing those that would threaten the safety of him and his loved ones. Donosik was one example of entering into the real world, or the real supernatural world, hidden under the blissful ignorance of the human world. Issei kept crying. His mental state wasn't ready for killing his enemies yet. This was a clear sign in his current state. She rubbed his back for a while, assuring that no one will come for him. It's not your fault, Ice. You were only defending yourself from that fallen angel. It's going to be alright, no one is going to come after you. Nobody saw you fighting against the fallen angel, right? Issei looked at her and nodded, sniffling as he knew there was no one that saw him defending himself. Chisato then looked at him and spoke with a smile. See, then you have got nothing to worry about. Issei nodded, as once Issei wanted to be released, she quietly released him. She then spoke. You can stay here for tonight if you want to. I will let your parents know and convince them that you are safe with me. Issei wanted to retort, but he felt like he didn't have the strength to refuse her. She cared for him and for letting him stay here. She even provided with food and calmed him down when he needed it. Chisato left the room to get some more soup. As once the system screen was done, a message popped up. See, the player can trust the goddess. She is not your enemy and you are safe with her. I guess you are right. Issei spoke in a low tone to himself as he then spoke. Although I am not sure if I can tell her more just yet. And besides, she cares for me since I am her student, that's just about it. No one will care for me, after all I am just a lowly pervert. The player has a lot of self-doubt. The player is truly unaware of people that care for him in this world. But the system respects his decision of not revealing more information when the player is ready. The system will support him in any way it can. Issei nodded in understanding and muttered with a smile. Thank you. Unbeknownst to him, Chisato heard almost everything as she gave a sad sigh, knowing the doubt that was lingering in his mind. She needed to know what really happened to her student, and the fallen angel that attacked him today was the first piece of information that she had received. There was more. Rias and her peerage were investigating what remains of Donosik. Aside from Yudo Kiba and their leader Rias Gremory herself, she was accompanied by 2 other people. First was Akeno Himejima, a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure, very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair is usually tied in a very long ponytail, reaching all the way down to the floor with 2 strands sticking out from the top and sloping backward, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. Like most of the girls at Kuo Academy, she wears the customary Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, along with black calf-length socks. Second was Kaneko Taoju. She was a petite girl with white hair and gold eyes. The front of her hair has 2 long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back has a short bob cut. She also wears a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. She usually wears the Kuo Academy girls' school uniform without the shoulder cape. What happened here? Rias spoke as Kaneko lifted some ash that once belonged to the fallen angel due to her sensitive nature. She then spoke in a low emotionless tone. Someone has killed fallen angels here, President. This ash once belonged to him. The attack was a fire magic attack on who had killed him. Rias noted this just when she hoped that things were getting better. This happens. Normally, she would be sort of relieved that the fallen angels are being dealt with. But she can confirm that this was neither her nor Sona's doing, since those that did have access to fire magic, for instance Akeno, didn't do the deed. I see. And anyone nearby in sight? Rias asked, to which Kaneko noticed the blood on the floor. Rias looked at Rook seeing the blood and responded. This is the blood of the defender or attacker. We know fallen angels have been making their presence known. First was that one with Issei, and now this. But we cannot make the choice right now. Any reckless choices will result in even more problems. Rias spoke with total seriousness, with Yudo Kiba speaking. President. May I speak up? Rias looked at Kiba and nodded as she spoke. You may, although there is no reason to be formal with me. Yudo nodded and spoke. I think we should head towards the abandoned church. I know it is a risk, but if we are going to get our answers, we will have to make our way to the church. Rias nodded in understanding. She would make plans of heading there soon. It seems like she would be needing to take a risk for what had happened. Kaneko then spoke. There is something I also want to speak up. You remember the pamphlet you had your familiar gave that boy, President? Rias looked at Kaneko and spoke. Yeah, what of it? Did you find a way to recover it? He never used it to summon you. Rias nodded. She remembered the pamphlet that she had given him in an event that things did go wrong, and Issei does end up getting killed by Raynare. However, he never used it, and Rias understood that everything went well. However, some things didn't add up, one of them being the fact that she erased her existence from all technological devices. And then Issei's gloomy state did catch her off guard. She presumed it would have been a breakup that happened between her and Raynare. It shouldn't surprise anyone since Issei's reputation of being a pervert was well known. I will recover it once he does visit us, later on, during Monday. Kaneko nodded, accepting the answer. Rias and her peerage needed to investigate more on the situation at hand. They soon headed back inside to gather whatever evidence they can get relating to the matter. Unbeknownst to them, someone was watching them from a safe distance. The next day. Haidu residence, 9:30 a.m. Issei had returned back to home. He had said his farewell to Chisato, who had asked him to look after himself. She seemed to really care for him. However, he still doubts whether this care is temporary or permanent. He hopes it is the latter. He explained to his mother that he had some math doubts and spoke that he couldn't make it due to being too late. His mother fortunately brought the excuse. He also informed his father the same as well. Returning home, he knew that he will be needing to grind since he almost lost his life to Donaseek. He will be needing to deal with more and more enemies since Chisato did inform that she will look into the matter. He knew that a goddess like her would easily defeat these low-level fallen angels. But he didn't want to cause trouble for her. She would have a good reason to seal herself and live amongst humanity in the same territory as the devil heiresses. He soon entered his room as the system showed its screen up. It then spoke. So how is today, player? Did you sleep well? Yeah, I slept well. Today seems like a nice day to grind some levels. The system soon gave a smiley face equals D in response as the message screen changed. The system believes that the player slept well because the goddess slept beside him. Issei immediately became red as he denied what the system said. And no, that's not it. Issei remembered that when he woke up the next morning, Chisato was sleeping beside him. He was completely caught off guard and the woman didn't seem to mind sleeping beside him. Fortunately, she was not sleeping naked. When Issei inquired upon this, she had spoken with a smile that she was worried he may end up getting nightmares, so she slept beside him, such that she can look after him and care for him. Although, the system is glad you kept your carnal desires in check, player. Not that the goddess would mind. Shut up. Issei shouted with embarrassment as the system only gave a smiley face equals D in response, which annoyed Issei even more. The message soon changed. Jokes aside, what is the plan for today? How does the player wish to grind levels, or do you want to buy experience for levels? I think we should go back to the first dungeon, that is where I will get more monsters to grind on. The system's message soon changes in response. I understand, the dungeon name is called Meadowfields. The player must complete one dungeon and defeat the mini-boss that is guarding the location before proceeding to move to the next area. This dungeon has 3 areas, with the final area having the true boss, and then the player can proceed to the dungeon that is of higher rank. The current rank of the dungeon is F, the next rank is E. The ranking system goes as such. O, S, A, B, C, D, E and F. Issei speaks in response. I see. Are there any sub-ranks? The system's screen changes in response. There may be a sub-rank, like, for instance S+ is a sub-rank between S and O rank. There is A+, B+, C+, D+, and E+ as well. Each rank is placed between the successor rank dungeon and the current rank dungeon. These dungeons are unique since they offer unique challenges and/or enemies stronger than the current rank dungeon, but weaker than the successor dungeon. And right now, I am merely F rank, just how pathetic I can be. Issei groaned in sadness as the system soon changed its message and spoke. Don't worry player, that is why I am here. To make sure you are ready for the real world. You needn't worry, and you wouldn't even realize when the dungeon requirement changed. You are pretty close to conquering the first area, and soon you will have a run-in with the mini-boss of the area. I see. Issei spoke in response, as he continued. Then we might as well conquer this bad boy. The system changed into a smiley face equals D before responded. Now that's the spirit, player. Issei nodded, getting ready for his dungeon exploration. The system then spoke. So does the player wish to visit the dungeon right away? Yes, no. Yes. Issei declared as the system message changed. As you wish, player. We are being teleported to Meadowfields in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Issei's body soon started to glow in response, just like last time. This time he was ready to head to the new dungeon. He soon teleported to the dungeon. Scene change. Meadowfields, 9:30 AM. Issei was once again in this location, as soon the quest screen popped up. The system actually forgot to mention this. If you do end up dying in a dungeon, the player will be respawned to the place where he last teleported to the dungeon or at a checkpoint. Any damage taken in a dungeon will disappear when the user returns from dungeon. Note: if the player doesn't save their progress at a checkpoint, the player will lose any progress, levels, experience or items he gains in the dungeon and restart the dungeon from the very beginning. Issei became pale upon seeing the screen. This means he will have to start all over again. This is just like any RPG video games he used to play. On the bright side, he won't be worried about losing his life in a dungeon. His health would be restored and he can save the items he collected if he saves his progress. But on the dark side, not only would he feel pain and other sensations including death, but he would lose everything if he does not save his progress at a checkpoint. Additionally, he didn't even know what a checkpoint looks like as he asked the system. But how will I know what is a checkpoint? Issei asked, to which the system responded. The system will let the player know, worry not. Issei nodded as he looked forward. He soon started to walk into the tall grass. He wondered on whether he is going to encounter some more slimes or some other monsters. Soon enough, something leaped into Issei's views. The thing seemed to be more of a rabbit that was present. Stats check. Issei commanded as the system revealed the stats. Name: Wild Rabbit. Level: 8. Race: Monster, Rabbit species. Health points, HP: 750. Fatigue: 0. Strength, STR: 6. Vitality, VID: 10. Agility, AGL: 14. Intelligence, INT: 7. Senses, SES: 8. Luck, LCK: 10. Potency, POT: 10%. Tenacity, 10. 20%. Issei mused as the rabbit lunged at him. Issei instinctively dodged the attack, knowing that the rabbit is capable of injuring or killing him, unlike the slimes of this area. He soon commanded the newest attack that he had learned. Shock Wave. A small voltage of electricity was sent towards the rabbit, who leaped to avoid the attack. It soon again tried to rush to attack Issei and jump. The rabbit managed to bite Issei's shoulder, causing him to grunt in pain. Issei, however, saw this as an opportunity and used Shock Wave on the rabbit, causing it to get struck and release Issei. The paralysis soon took effect, immobilizing the rabbit. The target has been affected with paralysis. Now is your chance to end this, player. The system declared as Issei nodded, using a nearby rock. He crushed the rabbit's head with a rock, taking it out of the equation. The player has gained 150 experience plus 50 yen for killing the rabbit. Neat. Issei walked ahead. He looked at his bleeding hand and removed a handkerchief to cover the bleeding. The wound wasn't too big, but it was best to not take a risk and play it safe till he found a checkpoint. He looked on ahead and saw 3 more rabbits of the same species charging at him. He ducked to ignore their charges and soon exclaimed, "Shock Wave." The attack stunned the rabbits, momentarily allowing him to escape, as he soon followed it up by rolling and exclaiming, "Fire Spin." The fiery vortex started to consume the rabbits, as the system informed him. Fire vortex has been inflicted on the rabbits. The rabbits can be heard screeching in pain, as Issei could only wait till he gets the confirmation. After a few minutes, he got the confirmation. He looked at the disappearing vortex as none of the rabbits survived. The player has gained 450 experience plus 150 yen for killing the rabbit. Issei noted this as he responded. Stats check. The system showed the stats as needed. Name: Issei Haidu. Title: Leader of the Perverted Trio, Enemy of All Women, Perverted Beast. Level: 22. Experience points, EXPR. 1350-2200. Race: Human. Health points, HP. 4100-4100. Fatigue: 10. Strength, STR. 33. Vitality, VIT. 42. Agility, AGL. 46. Intelligence, INT. 70. Senses, SES. 36. Luck, LCK. 90. Potency, POT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 40%. Mana status, 80% mana remaining. Yen, 7750. Issei noted this, he was going to need at least 3 levels to access relationships. He took notice of something on the ground. It seemed to be an icon of some sort looking like rabbit meat. He could see 2 more just near the first one, as the system informed him. That player is what is called cooked rabbit, touch it and it should be in your inventory. Issei did as the system asked and the icon went inside him along with the 3 near him. The system soon showed a new message. Aimed cooked rabbit meat x3. Issei then spoke in response. This is similar to Minecraft. Issei noted having played that game at least once with his friend Motohama, who had a lot of games, aside from loot ones. He had games like Rocket League, Grand Theft Auto V to name a few. Indeed player, now say access inventory. Access inventory. Issei did as the system asked him to as he could see his inventory screen. Inventory. Cooked rabbit meat. Quantity. 3. Inventory space. 3 500s items. The system added text below the inventory screen. As the player can't see, there are 3 cooked rabbits in your inventory. There is also a limitation in how much items a player can carry. So use this empty space wisely. Issei noted as he asked. Is there a way to increase this space? Yes player, there is. Leveling up is one way to increase space. For every 10 levels, 25 extra space is added to your inventory for free. Of course you can buy more space, just like you can buy levels. Issei had a look of deadpan as he spoke. So you seem to monetize the player inventory too, huh? The system only responded with a smiley face equals D like always, causing the latter to grumble. He could only hope that nothing else ends up getting monetized. He started walking ahead, encountering many more rabbits and slimes that had joined in. He dodged their attacks and unleashed shockwave a few times, which completely incapacitated some of the rabbits. Paralysis has been inflicted on 3 rabbits and 4 slimes. Quickly leaping away, he unleashed a fire spin that completely burnt his targets. He knew he had to rely on spells, since his physical abilities are still developing for the time being. He will have to train in combat-based abilities, since he cannot always rely on spells to do so. Fire vortex has been inflicted on all enemies. There was nothing left when he burnt down the monsters as the system showed up and spoke. The player has gained 1400 experience plus 550 yen for killing the 6 rabbit and 10 slimes. Level up. Issei was surprised not by the elevating system, but by the fact that there was no drops left, as the system explained to Issei. There is a reason for this player. The drop rates from killing monsters depends on your luck stat and the monster level. Based on that, you would either get nothing or some drop. Increasing your luck stat is the best way to get more drops, as well as increasing your critical hits. Issei noted this, so far he didn't trigger any critical hits in his enemies. He knew that his luck stat was poor, but he knew that the stats will keep improving. He decided to check his current stats. He needed to check his mana left. Name: Issei Haidu. Title: Leader of the Perverted Trio, Enemy of All Women, Perverted Beast. Level: 23. Experience points, EXPR. 552,300. Race: Human. Health points, HP. 4400-4400. Fatigue: 20. Strength, STR. 36. Vitality, VIT. 45. Agility, AGL. 49. Intelligence, INT. 74. Senses, SES. 39. Luck, LCK. 95. Potency, POT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 40%. Mana status. 40% mana remaining. Yen. 8300. Issei was surprised by how much mana it took to beat those rabbits. He was hoping he could find a checkpoint soon enough since he needed to save his current progress. He didn't want to lose any hard-earned progress that he made. He also wanted to try some cooked rabbit that he had earned. He looked around and saw a hole that was completely out of place. It was glowing at the center. He then spoke. "What is that?" The system soon responded in kind. "That player is what we call a checkpoint. Head to it and a different screen will show up." Issei perked up when he heard about this. He headed to the checkpoint as a light blue screen showed up instead of the usual blue screen that was present. Issei Haidu. Level 23. Experience 552,300. Items gathered 3x cooked rabbit meat. Does the player wish to create a save file and save in the checkpoint? Yes, no. Yes, I wish to save. Issei spoke as the center glow stopped glowing. The outer non-glowing part started to glow upon Issei stating to save his current progress. "Whoa." Issei exclaimed as soon the glow stopped, returning to its usual glow. The screen then spoke. Issei Haidu. Level 23. Experience 552,300. Items gathered 3x cooked rabbit meat. Progress saved. Issei sighed in relief as the system soon came back to its usual blue shade of a screen and responded. As the player can see, once you save your progress is saved. Your current stats are saved along with any items you collect. So once you return to the dungeon, you won't lose any items in your inventory. The only way you can lose an item is when you return and use the items in the real world or consume it here and save your progress in a checkpoint. Issei took note of this. He can use it to try the food that is present here before heading back to the real world. He can also use it to try items and head back to the real world, and since he saved up, he could do that. It was an exploit he could use till the system does patch it. Proceeding to walk ahead, he wondered if he would be able to find some more monsters to kill. He is going to need to have to grind more levels. However, all of a sudden, he heard some squealing. Eeeeee. Issei turned to the direction of the squealing. He rushed to the location where he heard the squealing. He could see several monster rabbits and a monster rabbit that seemed to be having a scar in its left eye. He could see it commanding many of its kind. So that means the scar rabbit is the leader. Issei muttered to himself as the system screen showed up. Rare quest. Defeat the Rabbit Leader mini-boss and complete the first section of the dungeon. Rewards. 5,000 experience plus 2,500 yen plus new skill. Failure. Death. Optional quest. Rescue the hostage that the rabbit leader has gained before the leader kills her. Rewards. 2,000 experience plus 1,000 yen plus new item plus new title. Failure. The hostage will get killed. Wait, hostage? Issei looked to see a figure that was screaming for help. She seemed to be a sort of a gremlin with orange hair and brown eyes, only having legs and a head. She is wearing a pair of large round goggles on their head, which have thick black frames. The goggles rest on top of a helmet or headgear, which is dark and possibly metallic. The headgear also has wide ear covers on the sides. She seemed to be wearing a red beanie, although that was barely visible from Issei's view. Her boots wearing tall, brown lace-up boots that cover most of their legs. The boots are sturdy, with detailed stitching and large laces. Looks like a Goomba from Super Mario Bros. Issei spoke in a low tone as he spoke. Stats check. Orange Gremlin. Level 10. Race. Monster Gremlin. Health points, HP. 401,000. Fatigue. 60. Strength, STR. 20. Vitality, VIT. 15. Agility, AGL. 18. Intelligence, INT. 14. Senses, SES. 18. Luck, LCK. 15. Potency, POT. 20%. Tenacity, 10. 25%. Issei looked at the other rabbits torturing the gremlin. He muttered. I should think of a plan to help her. He decided to check the leader's stats as he spoke. Stats check. Name. Wild Rabbit Leader. Level. 20. Race. Mini-boss Monster Rabbit Species. Health points, HP. 2100. Fatigue. 0. Strength, STR. 30. Vitality, VIT. 35. Agility, AGL. 40. Intelligence, INT. 30. Senses, SES. 50. Luck, LCK. 45. Potency, POT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 20%. Looking at the stats, his level was almost close to his own level. He needed to be very careful in what he does next. He was glad that he didn't speak too loudly or make any noise, else the leader would have detected his presence. He had only 2 skills, that being Fire Spin and Shock Wave. He needed to create an elaborate plan to deal with the rabbits and the Emperor. He noticed that the rabbits were torturing him, but the leader was separated. This gave him an idea. He acted quickly, using fire spin to completely immobilize the rabbit leader, who squealed in response. This alerted all the monsters present. Fire vortex has been inflicted on the target. Issei soon came from his hiding space upon seeing this, and spoke. "Leave that gremlin alone." The gremlin looked at Issei with a surprised tone, as the wild rabbits chattering their teeth in anger, as they squealed towards Issei ready to take him down. Several of them lunged at Issei, who only was gracefully dodging the attacks. There were approximately 10 of these rabbits, which were on par with the ones he had killed earlier. He quickly landed a punch on the rabbit, which caused the rabbit to get sent flying a few meters. He took notice of a small spear and knew what he had to do. Performing a roll, he avoided another bite from a rabbit as he grabbed the spear. It seemed like a regular spear as he used it in the way Raynare did. He threw it like a javelin, and with his strength, he managed to kill 2 rabbits, causing painful squeals. 2 more lunged at him as he leaped in the air and responded by using shock wave by exclaiming, "Shock wave." Issei unleashed 2 shock waves on the target rabbits as they were inflicted with paralysis, with the system confirming it. Paralysis has been inflicted on 2 rabbits. Issei felt his body being flexible as he spoke. "Guess I am getting the hang of this." Issei looked at the dead rabbits that the spear had been thrown at. He looked at the 6 standing rabbits and headed to grab the spear. He threw the carcasses towards the ground and picked up the spear that had blooded him. Issei soon motioned his hand forward and taunted the rabbits. "Come at me." The rabbits angered by this, as they all dashed forward ready to consume him. He soon ducked and stabbed one in the stomach, moving it all the way to the heart, killing the 5th rabbit. He looked at the other one and flung the carcass towards the rabbit, dazing him. He soon stabbed the rabbit, quickly killing him as well. He could see the last 4 remaining. Dashing in the right direction, he immediately threw the spear in a diagonal direction, killing 4 rabbits all at once. Their corpses were all stacked up in the spear as it crashed to a nearby tree. "Oof." Issei exclaimed, tired from taking down all the rabbits. Some of them dropped a different item, but before Issei could take notice, the system screen showed up. "Warning. Fire vortex has ended, enemy has not been defeated." Issei became wide-eyed, but before he could react, the rabbit leader headbutted him so hard that he was sent flying across a few miles. He used the spear to slow down the momentum he was traveling in, dragging the spear for a few meters, fortunately not crashing to a tree. The rabbit dashed forward, almost like a speeding car heading this way. He barely dodged another attack as he checked its stats. Stats check. The system showed the stats of the rabbit. Name: Wild Rabbit Leader. Level: 20. Race: Mini-boss monster rabbit species. Health points: HP: 602,100. Fatigue: 75. Strength: STR: 30. Vitality: VIT: 35. Agility: AGL: 40. Intelligence: INT: 30. Senses: SES: 50. Luck: LCK: 45. Potency: HOT: 30%. Tenacity: 10. 20%. He gave a glance to the gremlin who was hiding behind a nearby rock, such that she doesn't get hit by any of Issei's attacks. He had to end this quickly. The rabbit leader could be seen charging for another attack, as Issei only stood there. He only had enough mana to use 2 shock waves, or a single fire spin. He had to make his choice quickly. The rabbit bounced, dust falling from the hind legs of the rabbit. It started to leap at astronomical speeds towards Issei, as he quickly exclaimed, "Shock wave." A shock wave surrounded the rabbit, causing it to screech in pain. He was hoping the paralysis managed to land, else he was screwed. Soon enough, the system spoke. "Paralysis has been landed. End this player." The rabbit leader struggled as Issei leaped in the air, holding the spear in his hand. He then made a battle cry ready to end the rabbit, who only extended its jaws to chomp on Issei's hand. It presumed it was going for the head, but… Stab. Issei had stabbed the rabbit leader in the heart, as it could only look in horror. The rabbit started to lose its consciousness and close its eyes, dead. Once it was down, 2 items were in place where it was stabbed. Issei rolled to the side exhausted as he was lying on his back, on the ground. "That took a lot out of me." Issei lied for a while, as the gremlin started to approach him. He then asked, "Are you alright?" Issei asked while panting in exhaustion. He was too tired to even move. He needed to build more stamina if he needed to continue to fight against enemies that will harm him and his family. The gremlin nodded. As she looked at the drops, she motioned to Issei and exclaimed, "Yeah? Oh, those? I will pick them up later." The gremlin nodded as it sat beside Issei, who moved his head up and sat down. He then asked the gremlin, "So how did you get yourself in the situation against the boss?" The gremlin looked at Issei as she only looked at him and turned to some markings near the battlefield. Issei took a moment to understand and spoke. So you ended up in their territory? The gremlin nodded as he asked. What will you do now? The gremlin walked towards Issei and started to stay beside him. Issei widened his eyes and spoke. You wish to come with me? You. The gremlin made a sweet sound and nodded as Issei spoke. Very well then, you are with me. The gremlin widened her eyes and made a bright smile as it shouted. Eee. Issei smiled as the system soon showed its screen and it showed quest completion. The player has gained 1500 experience plus 500 yen for killing 10 rabbits. Rare quest complete. Defeat the rabbit leader, mini-boss, and complete the first section of the dungeon. Rewards. 5000 experience plus 2500 yen plus new skill. Optional quest complete. Rescue the hostage that the rabbit leader has gained before the leader kills her. Rewards. 2000 experience plus 1000 yen plus new item plus new title. Level up. Level up. Level up. New skill gained. Airstrike. The user leaps in the air and unleashes a strike aimed at the target's head or vital organ. Deal physical damage to the target enemy. This attack cannot be countered. New skill gained. Night Slash. The user turn strikes the opponent whenever open and deals physical damage to the target enemy. There is a higher crit rate with this attack than usual. Crit rate increased by 50%. Note. This skill was gained by the user for reaching level 25. New title gained. Newbie Adventure. Description. The title was gained when the user had beaten their first mini-boss. The bonuses for this title are the following while in dungeons. Stats. 5% increase in strength, agility and senses. New item gained. Regular sword. Rank. E+. Description. A simple steel sword that can cut through enemies, but it cannot cut through everything, and stronger materials can crack the sword. Does the user accept all these rewards? Yes, no. Issei was surprised by the information he was seeing. He soon spoke. Yes. The system changed its screen to a smiley face equals D and sent the rewards. The steel sword came beside him. It was not good, but was doable for the time being. He can use something to defend himself. He knew that the spear wouldn't last for long anyway, since it was on the verge of breaking. He knew that when he was being sent flying by the rabbit leader, it could have broken at any time, seriously injuring Issei. Fortunately, it did not break. He looked at the gremlin and spoke. Let's head home. B. The gremlin responded as it leaped in the shoulder. He then saw the system send another notification which surprised him. Hidden quest completed. Tame your first monster in this world. Rewards. 500 experience plus 1000 yen plus new item plus new title. New item. Experience share. Description. Whenever the player or monster defeats an enemy, other members gain 50% of the experience gained by the one that uses the final hit on an enemy. New title gained. Rookie Trainer. Description. This title was gained by the user upon training their first monster. With this, monsters have a chance of being tamed by the user. Does user wish to replace the titles? Yes, no. Oh fuck the hell yes. And replace my leader of the perverted trio and enemy of all women titles. Issei responded as the system like always gave a smiley face equals D in response. It then showed Issei's current stats. Name. Issei Haidu. Title. Rookie Trainer, Newbie Adventurer, Perverted Beast. Level. 26. Experience points, EXPR. 2350 2700. Race. Human. Health points, HP. 3400 4900. Fatigue. 50. Strength, STR. 45, 47. Vitality, VIT. 53. Agility, AGL. 57, 60. Intelligence, INT. 82. Senses, SES. 47, 49. Luck, LCK. 100. Potency, POT. 30%. Tenacity, 10. 40%. Mana status. 5% mana remaining. Critical. Yen. 8300. Note. The near the stat number represents temporary buff stats when in dungeons. It will go once player leaves the dungeons. He took a glance at the rabbit hide which was near him. He didn't bother picking up the rabbit hide. Gained rabbit hide X1. He looked at Leggy as he decided to save at the same checkpoint he passed. He wanted to save his progress before he left for the next location in this dungeon. Issei Haidu. Level. 26. Experience. 2350 2700. Companions. 1. Items gathered. 3x cooked rabbit meat. 1x rabbit hide. Does the player wish to save in the checkpoint? Yes, no. Issei was surprised to see a new section in the save file he made when he first made it. He soon spoke. Yes. Issei Haidu. Level. 26. Experience. 2350-2700. Companions. 1. Items gathered. 3x cooked rabbit meat. 1x rabbit hide. Progress saved. Issei sighed in relief as he spoke. Now that's a relief, at least I won't have to go through that experience again. Yeah. The gremlin responded, who was hanging on his shoulder. He soon remembered and spoke. Oh, I didn't give you a name, right? The gremlin looked confused and responded. I can't just keep calling you gremlin, right? I got to give you a better name. The gremlin seemed to nod, as Issei thought for a moment. He took a look at her legs and structure. How about Leggy? Issei asked, to which Leggy had a wide smile and cheered in response. Yes, you like the name, huh? Leggy nodded with a grin as the system spoke. Seems like the player has chosen a nickname for the companion. She will be known by that name in her stat screen whenever the player wants to check her stats or abilities. Issei nodded as the system responded. Does user wish to head back home? Yes, no. Issei looked at his newly named companion Leggy and responded. Yes. The system responded with a smiley face equals D upon confirmation and responded. In that case we will be teleporting. We are being teleported in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Issei and Leggy soon glowed like they usually did as they reached in the bedroom that belonged to Issei. They managed to clear the first part of the meadow fields and they had to get stronger before they can fight against the stronger bosses. Scene change. Issei's room, Kuo, 2:30 p.m. Issei and Leggy were on the bed as Issei started to feel sleepy due to fighting for hours in the Meadowfields dungeon. The latter was more exhausted with the torment that she had to go through. Leggy, I am off to sleep. If you want, you can rest as well. Leggy nodded as Issei slept, instantly causing the gremlin to also feel sleepy and rest on the bed near him. Inside Issei's mindscape, Issei was looking around in confusion. He wondered what had happened when he could feel a presence behind him. Hello, human. He saw a 100-foot black dragon standing right behind him. The dragon seemed to be of Western origin, having the body type, wings and expression of such. Its eyes were completely lifeless, almost as if there is no soul in them. It just had white snow pupils, nothing. His aura radiated nothing but darkness and dread. Issei was terrified seeing him, even more than he was when Raynare had killed him. He never thought that a dragon would be something he would be seeing, something this terrifying. Is this a dream? Who are you? Issei spoke with fear in his voice. His instincts were screaming to run as fast as he could. He wanted to run, but was paralyzed by fear and completely frozen in place. This is no dream, my host. The dragon huffed in response, as he could sense the fear in his current host's or first host's expression. He then continued. My name is Erebus, the heavenly dragon of darkness. The dragon that was known to almost reach the status of dragon god, but a certain god decided to not let that happen. It is nice to meet you, my first host. Wait, Erebus. Wasn't he a Greek god? The dragon shook his head and spoke. I am not to be confused with that weakling primordial. I am far stronger than that sorry excuse of a god. Embodiment of darkness, what a joke. Erebus spoke mockingly as his tone changed to slight anger and responded. Worse, that god uses my name for his own uses. I am going to make him regret what he is doing. Issei was even more terrified of what he was hearing. The dragon sensed this and sighed. He was thrusted into this world and his mentality was not ready for this. Even if he had the system, he still needed to develop the right mindset to get into the world. It is still in its development phase. Erebus was watching his host. He saw on how his mental breakdown when he had killed the crow. If it wasn't for that goddess disguised as a human, he would have been in a much worse state. Due to her, Erebus developed some respect for Euphoria, despite being a goddess that he always looked down upon and hated her kind due to a certain god, and had a gut feeling that she was the light in his host's life. He made a deep sigh and spoke. It wasn't my intention for scaring you, my first host. Alright. Issei retorted as Erebus spoke. Getting back to the point, you are my first host since no human was strong enough to handle my gear. Those that were, already had either supernatural blood running in them or had a sacred gear prior to it. I see. Issei spoke with slight fear. He was losing his fear of the huge dragon Erebus, who spoke sensing this. I sense great potential in you, my first host. No, I sense immense potential in you. You have access to the leveling system and powers of a gamer. You will only get stronger as time passes by, and you have no limiter to your abilities. But you must be weary, the more stronger you get. Issei cuts the dragon off and speaks. The more attention I will gather, I am aware of that, Erebus-sama. Erebus shook his head and spoke. Call me Erebus. I believe respect should be given from heart and not from words. Issei noted this down as Erebus responded. Now you know why that crow killed you. Before we could meet. By crow, you mean Raynare? Issei asked, to which Erebus responded with a cold tone. Her name is not even worth remembering. She is nothing but a lowly crow. Besides, she was afraid of you, afraid of what you are capable, and look at you. You killed a fallen angel that is on her level. I think his name was Donasik. You showed him no mercy. Issei was looking down, his mind still needed to adjust to what he had just done. He was still a teenager and it was in human nature to not kill. However, once Issei gets over that mental barrier in human nature, he wouldn't have any qualms in killing a person. Your mental state is not ready. It's understandable, but soon enough, you will know it. Irbus spoke seriously, as Issei could only give a nod. He then spoke. I think it is time we end this discussion and continue at a later time. Your mother is calling you for lunch. Issei nodded as he started to wake up from his mindscape. He took a look at the dragon one last time before exiting from his mindscape. Outside Issei's mindscape, Issei had woken up as he spoke. What a dream. That's no dream, my first host. A familiar voice spoke up, startling the two present as Leggy looked on in curiosity in Issei's left hand. Instead of his left hand, there was a black gauntlet with black razor-sharp claws and a red gem at the center. It had two claws at the entrance of the gauntlet. This was Darkblade Gauntlet. Irbus? Issei spoke, recognizing the voice, as Leggy looked at her master in confusion. He then spoke. Indeed it is me, first host. And I can presume that is your companion. Irbus spoke, aiming towards the gremlin, as Issei responded. Yep, meet Leggy, Leggy meet Irbus. Leggy had a smile as she approached the gauntlet, with Irbus speaking. You seem alright for a gremlin. Leggy had a wide smile and exclaimed. Irbus seemed to be taken aback by this as he spoke. A simpleton, that's fine by my standards, I guess. Leggy exclaimed in a lower tone as Irbus huffed and spoke. Well, we will meet again, now I think you should rest. For a while. Oh, and by the way, your stats have changed, check it out. Irbus cuts off the connection and the gear returns back Issei's hand to its normal state. Before he could check his stats. Suddenly, the system responded, catching him off guard. Your final title has been revealed, here is your true stats. Name? Issei Haidu. Title? Rookie Trainer, Newbie Adventurer, Perverted Beast, Host of the Dark Dragon. Level? 26. Experience points, EXPR. 2350 2700. Race? Human Dragon. Health points, HP. 7000. Fatigue? 0. Strength, STR. 60. Vitality, VIT. 67. Agility, AGL. 73. Intelligence, INT. 99. Senses, SES. 78. Luck, LCK. 115. Potency, POT. 40%. Tenacity, 10. 50%. Mana status. 69%, mana remaining. Yen. 8300. Issei was surprised by this as he asked. How did this happen? The reason for players' increase in all stats is because of Irbus integrating some of his power into the player's body. As a result, your stats are coming close to the 100 level mark. The system did show that being a different species affects your stats differently. Yeah. Donasik's stats had an add-on. The system responded in kind. Correct, your change in species had a drastic effects on your stats, and because Irbus was heavenly dragon level. This caused an immense increase in your current stats, player. That fallen angel had a stat bonus due to his nature which increased his current stats. That was why he was stronger than what he would have appeared normally. I see. Issei hummed as Leggy was a bit confused. He looked at her and spoke. Worry not, Leggy, I will explain to you at a later date. Leggy nodded as he spoke. I have some chips in my drawer, you want some? Leggy, upon hearing this, exclaimed with a happier smile. Issei smiled in response and spoke. I will take that as a yes. Scene change. Abandoned church, 4:30 p.m. Raynare was sitting at the top of the church, releasing her two wings. She had a report of a certain nun heading here so that she can extract her sacred gear. Suddenly she heard flapping of some wings. So you came, Kala. Raynare turned around to greet this caller, Kalawarna, who was described a tall and buxom woman with brown eyes and long navy blue hair that obscured her right eye. Her attire consisted of a maroon trench coat-like top with a wide collar, a matching miniskirt, and black-heeled shoes. The trench coat top was open at her chest, giving view to her breasts and cleavage. She also wore a gold necklace around her neck. She appears to wear a white shirt underneath her top, but it can only be seen from the bottom. Indeed, and I have some terrible news. Kalawarna spoke with a solemn tone as Raynare turned around and spoke. What? We lost any and all contact with Donasik. There were devils investigating his burnt remains. There was only his burnt remains and blood which they presumed belonged to his victim. Raynare narrowed her gaze, she turned away and gritted her teeth in frustration. Donaseek was a valuable ally to her goals, and an unknown person had killed him. I see. Raynare spoke with a low and cold tone as she spoke. I guess aside from devils, we have other enemies as well. Scout for potential threats and eliminate them. We won't be toying with them like I did with that lowly pervert. As much as we love to, we cannot take any more risks. Kalwarna wanted to retort as Raynare speaks. No Kala, we can't. We have already alerted the devils to our actions anymore and they will be on to us. Once we get the sacred gear we will be unstoppable, then we can do anything we want. Kalwarna nodded, albeit reluctantly. She wanted to toy with a man she recently found, but guessed that will have to remain in hold for a while. She grunted in annoyance before flying off. Raynare took a look at her location and sighed. She knew that she will have to hasten her plans before turning ahead, wondering what is in store for her. Issei and Leggy were returning home. They had just finished their lunch, and Issei's mother Mickey asked to get some groceries for the house. Additionally, Issei showed the cooked rabbits to his mother, shocking him. However, Issei explained that he got them for free by helping a friend of his. She decided to make some rabbit stew and grilled rabbits, so she also asked Issei to buy some of that as well. So Leggy, what are your thoughts on this world? Leggy gave a nod and made a small voice as she spoke. Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. For now stay hidden. I am not sure how my parents will take your existence since they have never seen your kind before. Issei spoke as Leggy seemed to be down as Issei responded to him with a sad smile. But worry not, once I reveal the truth to them, everything will be fine. Yeah? Leggy exclaimed with confusion as she gave a smile to Issei and responded. Issei gave a genuine smile in response as all of a sudden he got a quest. Emergency quest. Defeat the second fallen angel that is coming to attack you. Rewards. 2750, experience plus 3500 yen. Failure. A painful death. The dimensions changed just like they did when Issei faced against Donaseek. He knew what was going to happen next. He turned his gaze to see a woman that looked straight from a strip club. She was a tall and buxom woman with brown eyes and long navy blue hair that obscured her right eye. Her attire consisted of a maroon trench coat-like top with a wide collar, a matching miniskirt, and black-heeled shoes. The trench coat top was open at her chest, giving view to her breasts and cleavage. She also wore a gold necklace around her neck. She appears to wear a white shirt underneath her top, but it can only be seen from the bottom. The woman spoke with a cold tone. Seems like the pervert managed to survive Raynare's assault. Guess it is my job to kill you for good. Issei was ready for combat. He knew that this was another one of those fallen angels. He was ready for a fight as he muttered. Stats check. Name. Kalwarna. Idol. Fallen angel, blue-haired cunt, street slut. Level. 26. Race. Fallen angel. Health points, HP. 2600. Fatigue. 0. Strength, STR. 47 plus 5. Vitality, VIT. 56 plus 5. Agility, AGL. 59 plus 5. Intelligence, INT. 60 plus 5. Senses, SES. 51 plus 5. Luck, LCK. 68 plus 5. Potency, POT. 40%. Tenacity, 10. 35%. Mana status. Full. Issei looked at her status and then her for a moment, which caused Kalwarna to stop in her tracks. Issei then spoke. I see. So that is why you are called a blue-haired whore. Kalwarna got angry and embarrassed upon hearing this, as Issei could see her breasts underneath her trench coat, as he asked. I mean, I can see that you aren't wearing your bra. Are you wearing your panties underneath that coat of yours? Issei asked, causing the fallen angel to be even more flustered. She hated that this human was insulting her. In her anger, she threw a light spear which Issei evaded. Can you fight? Leggy seemed to be worried. Issei knew that it must be the rabbits that must have attacked him. He then spoke. It's alright, even if you can't fight. We will find a way for you, Leggy. Leggy nodded and made a low hum as Issei brought out his sword and lunged forward towards the fallen angel, who blocked it with the spear she was holding. The clash staggered the two behind. The fallen angel was surprised by how this human was able to overpower him. She was getting annoyed by the fact that Raynare didn't do her job in dealing with this pervert. She knew that he was this threat that she was warned about. Opening start. Issei was looking down with a sad expression. Before smirking and soon grinning, he leaps in the air. He lands in the ground, surrounded by monsters. Issei brings himself to fight and brought out his sword. He soon kills several monsters. He clashes against many more monsters, slaughtering them as he soon faces a slimy woman. Raynare looks down on Issei as she throws the spear at Issei. He lays dead, unable to do anything about it. However, he refuses to give up. A blue screen shows up as it heals and revives Issei back to life. He gets determined to never let anyone toy with him again. He heads towards the meadow fields, where he learns about the world. Chisato is seen looking outside her cabin, watching Issei seem gloomy. Worry grows on her face, as she wonders what is wrong with him. Issei is seen walking towards home, where the dimensions end. Turning around, he sees Donaseek flying over him. He gets angry upon this and fights back. Despite the injury, he continues to fight, defeating him eventually. The scene changes to Issei peering on the rabbit leader bullying Leggy. He jumped to rescue him. Quickly dealing with the rabbit king, he deals with the others, as Leggy joins him. Irbus is seen watching his life, nodding in acceptance at his host's growth. Chisato is seen working on something, as her hair changes from black to blonde for a split second. An armored entity is seen behind him, as she looks at him angrily. She refuses to come back, angering the person, who leaves the location. Issei is seen clashing against Kalawarna, followed by a blonde lowly goth woman, as he is ready to take them down. Issei walks towards Raynare, who was grinning evilly with a ring in her hand. Issei and Leggy look at her with hatred, ready to take the Fallen down once and for all. The scene changes to a white-haired girl joining the group, as the trio take down a horde of monsters in a different dimension. Leggy is seen taking them down, as a silhouette of a girl is seen behind her. A silhouette of a man and woman, with white and red dragons seen behind them, as Issei watches the clash. Another blonde-haired woman with short hair is seen watching before she heads inside. She wonders if she is going to join the group, pondering on what is going to come for her and her current status. The final scene shows Issei standing on top of the hill, as Leggy shows up and rubs her head on him. The duo look on the horizon, wondering what is in store for them. Opening end. Chisato's house, 6:30 p.m. Chisato was having her cup of tea. She remembered Issei leaving her house a few hours and his words on his run-in with the fallen angels. A growl could be heard from her tone, as she hated those crows harming Ice, someone she grew to care for. Despite being a pervert, she read Issei's nature like a book. He had a good and caring heart underneath the perversion and lascivious nature. Being a goddess, she had a better understanding of people, even more than humans in general. She has lived for eons, but one particular person caught her attention, and that was Issei. He was not perfect, nor was he flawless. He had major flaws like his perversion and lascivious nature mentioned earlier. He easily indulges in lewd fantasies, being obsessed with female breasts and a desire for a harem, traits he openly admits and makes no effort to hide, a characteristic that he is, in fact, proud of. But beneath that blanket of terrible traits lies a man with a pure heart and a noble being by nature. He trusted her a lot, but that changed his fateful encounter with the supernatural. What am I going to do now? How can sensei help you, Issei? When you don't even want to tell me anything? Chisato spoke sadly, as she knew Issei was still hiding things from her. She wanted to give him space, only deciding to ask him when he is comfortable enough with her. Just that made her saddened. He doesn't have trust or faith in her. He needs to be comfortable to reveal the truth. She hated that he needs to be comfortable with her just for him to reveal the truth. However, all of a sudden a presence showed up in her place. She turned around and a serious look grew on her face. She wasn't a fan of her old faction due to how they viewed humans, and she still held small anger towards them for what happened to someone she viewed as a family. She turned to see a magic circle of a different origin, one that was recognizable by Chisato herself. The person that came out of the magic circle was an armored individual who had a pair of glowing blue eyes and a thinner physical attribute. This was Ornis, one of the 10 gods that had been present in this world from another pantheon. What do you want, Ornis? Chisato spoke with complete seriousness, her tone holding no emotion of care or love. If Issei were to be here, he would be surprised seeing the caring and compassionate Chisato behaving like this. I am here to get you back, Afuria. Chisato narrowed her gaze, she was not happy being called that name. She then spoke. My name is Chisato Hasegawa, the one you know as Afuria is long gone. Chisato spoke with total coldness, making Ornis flinch. She then continues. And one more thing, I am not coming back. But why? Chisato turned her gaze away and spoke. I sealed my powers. I refuse to come back to the same place that doesn't accept my thoughts and ideals. You all look down on humanity, refuse anyone that doesn't accept your thoughts. Even my cousin was a victim of this. Ornis retorted to this statement. But she broke a law in being close to a human. And? How does that affect us? Was she harming us in any manner? Ornis had no answer, to which she responded. No, right. Before her being sealed. I also used to think the same, but she made me see the error of my ways. And now, I am as good as a human, walking beside them. No. Ornis shouted with anger, this was not how he saw Furia to be. Chisato looked at him and shook her head, as she spoke. It's true, I sealed my powers to make myself more human. Living with them has shown that they aren't as lowly as you all see them to be. I only took my cousin's advice of living with them and it turns out. They contradict everything that the gods have been telling me. and I will stay by their side. Desato spoke with seriousness, as Ornis could be heard growling. He was gritting his teeth underneath his armor. He then spoke. Maybe I should kill some of your students. Ornis wasn't able to complete when Chisato was releasing her aura. Her hair changed from her usual black to blonde, her eye color changing from green to blue, and she removed her glasses. Her expression was that of fury. No one goes after her students, especially Issei, and gets away with it. Raising her hand, she unleashed a magic circle that was the same origin as the one Ornis came from. She fired a shot which grazed Ornis's armor, causing him to stagger, and it completely destroyed the wall behind him. She then spoke with total coldness. You even lay a finger on them, Ornis. There will be nothing left of you. I swear that I will hunt you down and destroy you permanently, no matter where you are. This is your one and only warning, Ornis. Chisato declared with anger in her tone, letting her furious side show up. Ornis felt fear for the very first time. He could be seen growling in response, as he spoke with a growl. You. Chisato speaks in response with cold tone. Leave. Now. Chisato speaks with a cold and no-nonsense tone, as Ornis clenches his fists and speaks. I will be back, Afuria. Ornis spoke with anger, as he teleported away. Upon his teleportation, Chisato lowered down her aura, and her hair returned to her usual black with eyes returning to her usual green. Looking at the destroyed wall. She sighed, hoping that no one found out about it. I hope the devils didn't sense this, else this would be a problem. Chisato spoke with a worried tone. She knew that this would cause complications and would bringing up her past. Something she doesn't want to deal with right now. Worse, if Issei came to know, he may end up fearing her, something she would have hated. Little does she know, Issei already knows who she really is. Scene change. Alleyway, Kuo Town, 7:30 p.m. Warna was breathing heavily, as Issei also was breathing heavier than usual. Both were clashing for minutes now. Leggy, who was on top of Issei's head, looked in amazement, knowing Issei was relentless in his attack. Did you really think you could get a jump on me? Issei spoke with a normal tone, as he soon smirks. Nice try. Why you? Warna throws many more spears, as Issei keeps evading every single spear. He looked at Leggy, who seemed to start losing her fear of fighting. Issei knew it was going to take a while, since Leggy was a more peaceful gremlin, unlike the others. However, his evasion was not good enough, as he was getting grazed from the spears. His evasion was getting slower and slower due to his fatigue. He prepared his blade for what is to come. He needed to quickly act. What's the matter, pervert? Warna spoke mockingly, trying to get his attention, as she continued to goad. Can't keep up with a fallen angel. You weakling hum. Warna was unable to complete when Issei closed the gap and spoke. Night slash. Issei quickly slashed her, as Warna took a direct hit from the blade. She coughed up blood. In response, she gritted her teeth in anger and pain, as Issei looked at her apathetically. The system responded. Critical hit. Issei looked at the screen and asked. What is the difference between regular and critical hits? The system responded. Critical hits have a 50% damage boost to the attack, as opposed to a regular attack player. They are often more damaging and aggressive as opposed to regular damages. Physical damage-based attacks have a higher chance of critically striking someone, as opposed to special damage-based attacks. That is why, if player wants to unleash more critical hits, it is recommended to use physical attacks. Warna readied her spear with one hand, while she held her wound with the other. She used Issei's distraction as an opportunity to try and kill him. However, Issei saw this coming. The spear's trajectory was predictable and slower than the rabbit leader's charges that he had to deal with. Issei easily sidestepped, dodging it, as he dashed forward and exclaimed. Night slash. Another gashing slash was applied by Issei, causing her to screech in pain. Ah. Issei's blade had blood belonging to the fallen angel. Warna for the first time in her life had fear in her eyes, fear that a mere human was the one that was getting an upper hand against her. I will be blunt with you, your strikes are predictable and slow. Something I could predict and evade. Issei spoke, as he could see tears in Warna's eyes. Normally he would have helped her, protected her. But with what happened, he was going to take her down. I am not going to deal with this. I am going to report to Raynare that you are still alive. She will make sure that you and any of your allies are dealt with. Warna tried to fly off, but Issei acted quickly. He was livid that she is going to be the reason why his friends and family are in danger. He vowed to deal with her right away. Shock wave. Issei unleashed a shock wave that entrapped the woman. She gritted her teeth in pain and fell down with a thud. Electrical energy surrounded her body, and she was twitching in pain, as the system spoke. Paralysis has been inflicted. Make this fallen angel pay for being the reason why your loved ones would have been harmed. Warna tried to fly again, but she seemed to be unable to move any part of her body, only being able to twitch. She grunted in frustration and helplessness as Issei started to walk to her. Yeah? Leggy asked, wondering what her team leader was planning to do with her. Issei then spoke. I am going to make sure that she never harms my friends and family again. Issei walked to her and looked at Raynare. He could see her clothing was completely exposed, as he could see that she was not wearing her panties as well. Wow. You don't even wear panties. You really are a slut, aren't you? Issei spoke with a neutral tone. There was a red tint on her face. Raynare covered her body with whatever she could, which was basically her limbs and her clothing. Please don't look. Raynare shouted in embarrassment. Not only did someone she saw as a lowly being saw her naked body in full display, but he also saw that she was wearing only her trench coat-like top. Deciding to accept her fate, she then spoke with anger. You may have won this battle. But it is us that we will have the last laugh. Just kill me and get it over with. I would rather die than live in dishonor. Issei looked at her and scoffed as he spoke. I would kill you. But after hearing what you said, I think keeping you alive is better. I mean, you going back to your boss half naked for the whole world to see would be much better than outright killing you. Issei could see the anger in her eyes upon saying this. He was now letting her live in disgrace. Honestly, you really thought I was an easy prey, right? Just cause I was a human, you thought I could have easily you, right? Issei spoke as Raynare lost her anger and became fearful. Issei then spoke. However, you living in disgrace is better. Raynare became angry as tears were falling from her eyes. Issei then turns around and continues with a serious and cold tone. But you harm my family and loved ones, and I will chase you to the ends of the earth and make sure you beg for death wherever you are. Issei's declaration sent chills down her spine. She swallowed a lump of bile down her throat. She was terrified of Issei, as she could see a silhouette of a black dragon arrive behind Issei. She could see Issei turning away and start to walk ahead. He was sparing her, but to Raynare, this was something else. She was angered by the sheer disrespect and humiliation that Issei put her through. It was not enough for him to overpower her at every opportunity, but to humiliate her in such an extent. This was not something she was going to forget, overlook or forgive. In her blind anger, she summoned her light spear and shouted in her anger. You damned human. She threw the light spear, as Issei avoided it and grabbed the spear. He soon threw it back at her, which went straight through her left chest. She could only look in horror at what Issei had done. How? Raynare's last words were spoken with horror, voice having complete terror in it. Issei was also shocked. He aimed lower than before this time, and it went straight to her heart. Raynare exploded into a flurry of feathers, killing her permanently. Issei could only look down and spoke with a low tone, with fear. It happened again. Leggy grew concerned as she spoke. I killed someone again. Why does this happen to me? Issei spoke with horror and sadness, his mind showing signs that he was not ready for it. But he was getting close to it. Host, snap out of it. Issei looked at his gauntlet that belonged to Earbus as he spoke. You didn't do anything wrong. That fallen angel made the foolish choice of attacking you even after you spared her and let her go. Drill this into your mind. You need to kill your enemies if you and your family and friends want to survive. Do you remember what could have happened if you spared that crow? Issei looked at him and nodded as Earbus spoke. Good, you know what was going to happen. That crow would have warned her allies and they would have attacked your friends and family, especially your parents. They are defenseless against these crows. Issei looked at his gauntlet and spoke. You are right about it. I guess. The best course of action for you to do is go home, since the other crows will be arriving soon and it is best they don't see what you have done. Earbus spoke seriously as Issei nodded in understanding. The Dragon of Darkness knew that Issei was getting better in his mental state. He knew that Issei had to kill his enemies if he wants to survive, and same goes for his parents and loved ones. He looked at Leggy and spoke. Sorry about that, Leggy. Guess my mind isn't yet completely ready for killing someone. But it will be. Issei spoke with a tone of assurance, causing the gremlin, as she nods, she rubs her head on Issei's face, earning a smile from the chestnut. Issei soon gets a system notification. Emergency quest complete. Defeat the second fallen angel that is coming to attack you. Rewards. 2750, experience plus 3500 yen. Level up. Leggy gained 1250 experience via experience share. Leggy level up. Leggy felt a surge of power as she wondered what was going on. The glow stopped as Issei asked with concern. Are you okay? Leggy responded with a low. Yeah. Issei nodded upon hearing this. He decided to take a look on his stats as he spoke. Stats check. The screen changes to his current stats. Name. Issei Haidu. Title. Rookie Trainer, Newbie Adventurer, Perverted Beast, Host of the Dark Dragon. Level. 27. Experience points, EXPR. 2250 2800. Race. Human Dragon. Health points, HP. 7100 7100. Fatigue. 20. Strength, STR. 64. Vitality, Vit, 70. Agility, Agil, 76. Intelligence, Int, 101. Senses, Ses, 82. Luck, LCK, 115. Potency, Hot, 40%. Tenacity, 10, 50%. Mana status, 80% mana remaining. Yen, 11,800. Suddenly the screen changes to something else as an icon appears on the bottom. He never actually noticed this before. He decided to check it out once he gets home. Scene change. Haidu residence, Kuo Town, 9:30 p.m. Issei lied on his bed. The dinner was really amazing. He was surprised that his mother could cook rabbit so well. It was so worth it carrying the food from the game world to the real world. The system screen showed up as it spoke. Player, tap the button below. Issei does so, as Leggy looks with curiosity. The system upon sensing this spoke before taking him to the next screen. Player, say system show. Leggy. Alright, system show. Leggy. Issei does as the system asked him to do, as the system could be seen by Leggy, as Issei asked. Can you see the system, Leggy? Leggy nodded and exclaimed. Eee. Good. The system screen shows something that surprises him. He saw his relationship tab, but the system's relationship screen then fades to pale, barely showing the view as a black film screen is shown with text in it. Player requirements have matched. Relationship tab has been unlocked. Does user wish to go across the tutorial? YN. Issei speaks in response. Yes. The screen changes in response as a new message pops up and responds. The relationship page shows on how the player's current relationship with his allies are. Depending on the situation, it will show their current status and relation. The more reputation points the user gathers with relation to that specific, the better the relationship a person will have with the player. Issei and Leggy watches the screen as the black film screen goes away, as he could now see several names. Mickey Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Air Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Desato Hasegawa, a Furia. Very good, close to reaching excellent, worried for you. Description. Leggy. Excellent, admires you. Description. Raynare. Terrible, looks down upon you. Description. Beerbus. Neutral, interested in you. Description. The cursor soon points to Mickey Haidu's relationship as it shows a new text. As the player can see, there are several relation types. The relationship very good displays that the player is in good relationship with the person, and it can increase with more reputation points. The screen changes as it shows a text at the center, while making the relationship screen fader than before. The statuses goes as the following. Terrible to very bad to neutral to mediocre to good to very good to excellent to magnificent. There is an exclusive status known as love, meaning that the user loves the player unconditionally. Although there is one person that will have that, unless there are more than one. Issei spoke in response. I see. The screen changes back to the relationship screen and points to the description of the screen, primarily towards Mickey Haidu's description. Click on the description. The system guides Issei to an arrow pointing towards the description as Issei clicks on it. The tab opens revealing Mickey's current relationship with her son. Mickey Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Player's relationship with his birth mother is still good and stable. Despite his perversion and lecherous nature. She hopes that her son will find a girlfriend to settle down with, but she fears that his perversion will turn any girl away. However, recently his depressive nature has made the woman really worried for the player's mental state. She hopes it can get better. Air Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Desato Hasegawa, a Furia. Very good, close to reaching excellent, worried for you. Description. Leggy. Excellent, admires you. Description. Raynare. Terrible, looks down upon you. Description. Beerbus. Neutral, interested in you. Description. As you can see, the description tells on how the person views you, their thoughts and their opinions on you. The more reputation points you gather, the more better relationship you will get with the people around you. Issei nodded, he was happy by his mother care for him. He knew that him changing would do him better from here on out. The arrow is gone, and system's relationship screen then fades to pale, barely showing the view as a black film screen is shown again. The player can test out some things, they can see what others view the player to be. Those that are in the player's current life or recently present people with Raynare's case. Reputation points can be gathered and can be lost, so be careful. Also the system can see if a person is sucking up or toying with the player for their own benefit, so you can be assured that any relationship that will be shown here is true. Issei nodded as he decided to check out the description of the other relationship and was surprised by some things and wasn't surprised by the other things. Miki Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Player's relationship with his birth mother is still good and stable. Despite his perversion and lecherous nature. She hopes that her son will find a girlfriend to settle down with, but she fears that his perversion will turn any girl away. However, recently his depressive nature has made the woman really worried for the player's mental state. She hopes it can get better. Bear Haidu. Very good, worries due to your current state. Description. Player's relationship with his birth father is still good and stable. Despite his perversion and lecherous nature. He, like Mickey, hopes that her son will find a girlfriend to settle down with, but he fears that his perversion will turn any girl away. However, recently his depressive nature has made the man really worried for the player's mental state. She hopes it can get better. Hisato Hasegawa, a Furia. Very good, close to reaching excellent, worried for you. Description. Player's relationship with his TACHER goddess is best described to be better than most teachers in Kuo Academy. Recent attacks on player have made the goddess worried for her student even more, willing to do anything for your sake. There is a small chance that this person loves you, but is uncertain about it. Liggy. Excellent, admires you. Description. Player's relationship with the orange gremlin is excellent. Ever since she was saved by the clutches of those wild rabbits. The gremlin views the player as a savior and cherishes him a lot, even if she is a bit afraid of fighting. The gremlin will work with the player but is afraid of going after big enemies. Raynare. Terrible, looks down upon you. Description. Player's relationship with the fallen angel is terrible at best and much worse at worst. She still looks down upon the player and sees him nothing as a toy to play with. She in a twisted manner decided to play with the player's emotion, causing his mental state to currently deteriorate. She can be a potential threat to your parents and must be dealt with. Earbus. Neutral, interested in you. Description. The heavenly dragon seems to have a neutral relationship with his current and first host. He sees the player as a host for the time being, and since dragons often value their freedom and love freedom, them being trapped in a sacred gear is something they don't like, and often they detest the divine beings responsible for this. This is true for both the Red Dragon Emperor and White Dragon Emperor as well. Issei noted, he soon closed the relationship tab, knowing what others thought of him or saw him. He was annoyed by how Raynare saw him, however he had a feeling that a confrontation with her soon enough. Earbus's glove suddenly shows up and he speaks. The system is right about me. We dragons cherish our freedom, host. We hate what the gods have done to us and don't have any respect or care for several of them, especially the biblical god. Earbus spoke the last part with venom, remembering that the biblical god was responsible for the creation of these sacred gears, trapping these beings. Issei could sense the hatred in his tone and understood why he had such a hatred for the divine nature. If he was sealed, even he would hold anger towards these beings. However, Issei had a question. How does Earbus know about the system? Wait, how did you see the system? I thought only when given access you can see the system. Issei asked as Earbus responded. When a host is bonded with a sacred gear, the being present inside can see all memories, including yours. I can see the system using your memories. Issei nodded in understanding, as he knew what this meant. He could see all memories if he wanted to. However, Earbus soon spoke. Worry not, I have respect for my host's personal and private space. So any privacy-based memories won't be seen by me. Issei again nodded and responded. I see. For someone called the Dragon of Darkness, you are a good person. A snort was heard from Earbus's tone as he spoke. You are the first person to say that, my first host. Usually people call me the terrorizing and terrible Dragon Emperor. But not many have said this to me. Earbus trailed off, having a little more respect for Issei than before, as he cuts off the connection. Leggy looks at Issei and speaks. You wanna go grab a bite? I know we had a fight recently, but you up for some food? Mom's gonna take a while to make some food. Leggy beamed at this, as she exclaimed. Eee. Issei rubbed the gremlin's head, causing her to rub her head towards Issei's head and accept his head pats. The duo soon left, with Leggy hiding herself in Issei's blazer like she usually does. Scene change. Rias' apartment, 10:30 p.m. Rias was getting ready for her bed. She decided to watch some anime before heading to sleep. She soon sensed a presence that caused her to grow a cold expression. She then spoke. Well, there goes my anime time. Rias gave a sigh as she walked towards the location where the presence was. She looked to see Raynare releasing her two wings out in the open. Now what was Raynare doing here? She wanted to know why the devils were killing her subordinates. Earlier, she had visited the location where Issei and Kalawarna and found only Kalawarna's feathers left behind. She gritted her teeth in fury at what these devils are doing. I believe you have a very good reason of coming here, Fallen Angel. Raynare had a scowl on her face. If there was anything she hated, it was the devils living here. But she wanted to know, why was she killing her subordinates? I do. You are the reason why my allies Kalawarna and Donasek were dead. Raynare spoke with spite, voice dripping with venom. She glared at Rias with anger, knowing she had a hand in killing them. Rias, on the other hand, was angry on the outside. But inside, she was clueless. She knew that one of the fallen angels were dead, whom she now knows were either Donasek or Kalawarna. You better have a good reason for accusing me without any prior evidence or proof on this. I have no reason to kill your kind. Raynare was gritting her teeth in anger as she retorted with fury. You're lying, Gremory. Rias shook her head and spoke with a calm tone. I have no reason to lie, Fallen Angel Raynare. First, I have no reason to kill them because of an agreement of no fighting amongst our kind. Second, Kuo is co-owned by me and Sona Citri, so it would be wise for you to take your leave, Raynare. I have no animosity toward you, but if you try anything against the residents of this town. Rias releases her aura, making Raynare back away. Fear was etched on her face, but there was anger as well. She despised her strong enemies and looked down upon humans, one of them being Issei. I won't hesitate to destroy you, permanently. Rias declared with total coldness and seriousness. Raynare gritted her teeth in helplessness and frustration as she exclaimed with anger. You are going to regret threatening me, Gremory. Raynare flew off with anger in her eyes. Rias looked at her and only gave a sigh. She knew that things are going to happen soon. She then responded. Well, there goes my weekend. Rias was planning to binge watch some anime since she had no homework or work from her faction. Guess she will have to head to the church to deal with this whole situation before it gets out of hand. She needed to clear this before any damage could be done. Someone has been killing fallen angels, and it is not her peerage, or even Sona and her peerage. There is another player in this situation and she intends to find out the truth. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.